Welcome back to Biohacking with Brittany. I am your host, Brittany Ford, and I am a registered holistic nutritionist, advanced fertility nutritional advisor, and someone who's really just passionate about proactive health. Here on the show, we talk a lot about evidence-based strategies to optimize your health and well-being. And fertility is definitely something that I have talked about in various different ways. And I thought it was time to circle back to it, because it's been a minute since we have kind of dove in deep into the aspects of infertility. And this is a topic that is deeply personal to me and my journey. And I'm definitely going to share with you what that was like. And it's also just really relevant in society. It is a growing global issue. It impacts 1 in 6 couples worldwide now, and the numbers continue to climb. For some, the journey to parenthood is pretty straightforward. You know, we all know that person who gets pregnant by mistake, or maybe that was you, or gets pregnant, super young, or was barely trying, or whatever it might be. But for others, it can be filled with, frustration and confusion and honestly heartache. So I'm going to dive into so many different aspects of this today to really just help you learn and understand more about why we're having this infertility crisis and what ultimately can we do about it. That's the whole thing here. Like, what can we do? So I really just want to give you support, and I'm going to unpack multiple things. We're going to look at some root causes, and I'm also going to talk about my baby steps program, because honestly, it's what got me pregnant and has helped many people be able to get pregnant and carry a baby to full term and have a healthy baby. So let's dive in. Everything mentioned in this episode will be on the show notes and on my website, biohackingbrittany.com. If you want to sign up for Baby Steps and join us, go for it right now. It's 50% off for Black Friday. That will never, ever happen again. This is the best price of the year. So definitely check that out and join while you can. It's only available to the first 100 people who sign up. So by the time this comes out, I don't know what number that's going to be left at. I saw a bunch of people who signed up today. So hopefully you can still get in. And as always, if you have any questions, like personal questions, I know fertility is such a personal, sensitive topic. You can send me a message on Instagram. I reply to all of you. I send a lot of voice notes and just trying to give my 2 cents and help you out where I can. And if I don't know the answer, I will direct you towards somebody who does, or a book or something like that, if I feel like it's out of my scope. Okay, so let's dive in. The fertility crisis. Why are infertility rates rising? The numbers behind the crisis is a great place for us to start. So the statistics are pretty eye-opening. According to the World Health Organization, infertility affects 186 million people globally, with 15 to 20% of couples experiencing challenges conceiving. I do want to say here, in about 30 to 50% of those cases, male infertility is a contributing factor. So this is not a female-only issue or problem. I'm going to swing back to that later, but male infertility is growing, and it's in 30 to 50% of the cases that we're seeing. Fertility issues don't just affect couples trying to conceive naturally. Even assisted reproductive technologies like IVF have lower success rates as the age of the individual increases. So what is causing this rise of infertility? Let's actually think about this. Let's think through this problem. How did we get to a point in society where we're sitting at 1 in 6 couples? Like, you could name 6 couples right now, I'm sure, that are your friends, and have all of them conceived and have babies easily. I doubt it. I know for me, in my world, that is definitely not the case. I have friends, multiple friends who have had miscarriages. I have multiple friends who struggled to get pregnant. I have one girlfriend who struggled to get pregnant the second time. So it was like second time infertility issues, whatever that might be called. And she was super confused, and I had to support her and tried to help her as much as I could as well. That is something that's also on the rise, is this idea of like multiple pregnancies is harder for people now as well. And so again, like what is really causing this is multiple issues. There's no one root cause. There's no one thing that we can say, hey, this is why we're becoming more infertile as a species. There's multiple things. And so the first one we need to obviously address is environmental factors. The modern environment is filled with toxins that disrupt our body's delicate hormonal balance. And it's so funny when I feel like I talk about the environmental toxins, I feel like there's people who just roll their eyes and think it doesn't make a big difference. But the research is so clear on this. So I just go ahead and like move in my own way anyway, because I know what is healthy and what is unhealthy. So a big one are these endocrine-disrupting chemicals, otherwise known as EDCs. They're found in plastics, pesticides, and personal care products, and they mimic or interfere with hormones like estrogen and testosterone. For example, a 2019 study published in Environmental Health Perspectives found that BPA exposure was linked to reduced ovarian reserves in women and lower sperm quality in men. That's just one study. Then we have things like air pollution and heavy metals. These environmental toxins can impact egg and sperm quality over time, especially people who live in cities who don't have access to nature or trees or cleaner air or use air purifiers or anything like that. Like the pollution from all of the cars, all of the construction when you're downtown in most places, not to mention the other heavy metals that you might be exposed to as well. And then also our water. Even our water is filled with things like pharmaceuticals, chlorine, iron, other heavy metals that are really hard for the body to detox. And there is some things that you can do, and we will kind of get into this a little bit right now, but detoxifying your living environment is a massive step that you can take to kind of help support your fertility. So things like swapping out plastic containers for glass or stainless steel, using clean beauty products, and being so specific on this, like don't go to Sephora and just click clean, right? Like go to EWG, which is the Environmental Working Group, put in the product that you're thinking about buying and take a look at the ingredients. Look at the rating. Is it rated 0? Is it rated 1, 2, or 3, which is like the healthier products? Or is it 4, 5, maybe even 8, 9, or 10, and it's actually pretty toxic for you? Like start to read the labels and kind of understand what you're putting on your body and that's seeping into your body and onto your skin. And then filter your water. So I'm going to do a full episode on this, but I actually just put water filters on my house. We tested for chlorine and I had chlorine in all of our water. And I knew something was up because there was pink rings on the toilets, in the bathtub, in the shower, like pink from the water. And that is a result of chlorine. So we put a whole full house filter on chlorine to get the chlorine out and a softener. And we have a tap in our kitchen now that does reverse osmosis water. And this is for drinking, for cooking, for cleaning, anything kind of like you would get into contact with or like ingest. And reverse osmosis water is really great because it takes out all of the extra heavy metals and the pharmaceuticals that are sadly in our water. So the chlorine filter is great for like the full house, but for drinking water and consuming it, you really do want something like reverse osmosis that is like the next level water. And let me tell you, this water tastes amazing. Like I had a glass for the first time last week and I was like, wow, I cannot believe we were drinking the other water prior to this. And we had a water jug with a filter. And I think that's a great place to start for people. Like you can get a Brita or a different type of one. I forget the name of the one that we have, but that's a great place to start. But really, if you are in a house, kind of take a look at your full system and see what you can do. I also suggest using things like shower filters and a bath filter because the water will seep into your skin. Like the toxins that are in the water will seep into your skin. So things like pharmaceuticals, things like heavy metals, the chlorine that sits on your skin and your hair. Ugh, so toxic. So just try to kind of filter out that. In terms of air purifiers, I use one called Hypo Air. I will link it in the show notes. I have this in a couple of different rooms in our house. And this really helps to purify the air of pollutants and any toxins. Mind you, I do live in a small town now. And so we back onto the forest. And so it's not as toxic as it used to be for us when we were living in Vancouver in the city. There are solutions for this. And I really suggest looking into them if you think that this might be contributing to fertility struggles that you're going through. Next up, we have lifestyle choices. Now, this is a massive category, okay? This is, way beyond the scope of this podcast, which is exactly why I created my Baby Steps program, is to walk you through step by step what you can do to change your life in order to increase your fertility, have a healthier pregnancy, and have a healthier baby. But I will touch on a few of them. So our modern lifestyle is a major factor. We cannot overlook this. Diet is a huge part in this. Diets are high in processed foods and ultra processed foods now and sugar. And these contribute to inflammation and metabolic issues that can impair fertility. So we need to be focusing on whole foods, healthy, rich in fat, rich in nutrients, nutrient-dense food, organic, all of that, because that is real nutrition. We can actually digest that food, take the minerals, vitamins, and phytochemicals from the food, use it in our bodies for the different processes that we need, and then become healthier from it. When we're picking things that are highly processed foods, it's much more difficult to do this, okay? It's much more difficult it's not even much more difficult. It's like the foods themselves really don't have much to them. Cereal, crackers, cookies, that type of thing. They're not nutrient-dense foods. So we really need to be reading the labels and choosing foods that are whole from the earth that can support our body. And I include animal foods and proteins in this. Now, the Baby Steps course and program that I created can be used for someone who doesn't want to include any of this, eggs or dairy or meat. But personally, I think all of those foods are very nutrient dense, and that's what the research shows. And so I recommend for fertility to be consuming those foods, but picking high quality, right? So you're picking pasture raised eggs or grass-fed beef or organic chicken, that type of thing, so that the quality of the animal proteins and animal foods are much higher. Another lifestyle choice is stress. I think stress is something that is rampant in our society. And I think the baseline for people now is a much higher stress level than what was about 50 years ago, 100 years ago. I think a lot of people are operating from a place of anxiety, of overstimulation from technology, social media, and basically juggling so many things all of the time that it creates this chronic stress in our bodies. And so chronic stress impacts the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, the HPA axis. Don't mind me not being able to say that out loud right now, which leads to hormonal imbalances that affect ovulation and sperm production. So stress management is key here. And yeah, you can meditate. Obviously that's a great one, but there's so many other things that you can do. And my suggestion always with stress management is you need to find what works best for you, that you can actually stick to. And whether that's like a very relaxing bath at the end of the night with like bubbles or, some oils or candles or aromatherapy, figure out what is your way to kind of zen out and be grounded in yourself and in your body and in your health in order to reduce your stress, in order to amplify your fertility. Then we have sleep. Sleep is a major factor, right? Like poor sleep hygiene disrupts the body's circadian rhythm, which is tightly linked to reproductive hormones like LH and FSH. And how many people are up late at night scrolling on their phone? They're on TikTok for like 2 hours, right? Or they're watching YouTube, or they're watching Netflix. They're watching something that is giving so much blue light off, which is disrupting our melatonin release, which is then, throwing off all of our hormones. So these are just a few of the lifestyle choices and factors. Again, I really suggest like going into my baby steps program and going through all of this, because there's so much information there that can be so helpful. And the last thing that I want to touch on that I really think is causing this rise in infertility in society is age and societal shifts. Fertility declines significantly after age 35 for women and 40 for men. Yet societal norms have shifted towards a later parenthood. This delay often leaves couples with less time to address underlying health issues. Now, I want to be very clear about this. I am in no way shaming anybody who is above those ages for trying to get pregnant, for not being able to, or anything like that. I actually don't think that this aspect of the decline in fertility is the person's problem. I think it is a systemic societal problem, because so many women who are over 35 or men over 40 are working on their careers. They're deep working on their careers, and they're trying to make enough money to be able to maybe have kids one day, or maybe they haven't found their partner. So it's a reflection of us as a society not being set up to support women and men having kids younger anymore. I have multiple friends who have said to me, I'd love to have a kid right now, but we can't afford it, so we need to wait. And they're 32, right? So it is a reflection of society and the shifts that are happening and how hard it is to be able to financially afford to have children. Whether you have healthcare set up like in Canada or you don't in the States and it's more private and out of pocket, even still, once you have the kid, you have to pay for everything to be able to support that child, right? All the products, the food, the clothes, etc. So unfortunately, even though, as a North American society may have shifted to this later time to start parenthood, our biology has not caught up, and it won't catch up for a very, very long time, because that is a huge shift to happen. And adaptations within the human body take time. It's not like between one decade. It might move a little bit, but like nothing that we would even really be able to notice. So I have had multiple people actually in my baby steps program who are in these ages and older who have had success because they've frozen eggs or they've waited and they've said, oh my gosh, I'm 39. Okay, I'm ready to start trying for a baby. I first want to optimize my health. Okay, let me do this protocol for 90 days. Okay, and then they get pregnant. And I always get the messages about it. It's really exciting and I'm very happy for them. So those are kind of like what I see as the root cause, broken down into 3, but it's really much more than that and much more complicated than that. But like environmental factors, lifestyle choices, and age and societal shifts. But again, some of that is our doing, like the individual doing, and some of that is on a much bigger scale than what we can honestly have control over. So I think it's really important to think about what you do have control over. What can you do? Now, I kind of like just went through some of the things that I talk about and I've talked about before, but I really think there is a lot you can do. And this is kind of where my personal story comes in. When I was in 2020, I faced a potential PCOS diagnosis. And essentially, it was really shocking and it was hard and I was confused. And it was before COVID, I think it was 2 months before COVID. And the doctor who said it to me, to be honest, I feel like she didn't really know what she was talking about, but I was still shocked. And I had irregular cycles and hormonal imbalances and, cysts on my ovaries. And it was from that moment on that suddenly I was like, wow, okay. So I thought that, we would have kids and it'd be fine. There'd be no issues. And then you start having a conversation like that. And suddenly it becomes a question mark and you say, wow, okay, what can I actually do about this? And as any biohacker would and nutritionist would, I took it really serious. I took my preconception prep really serious. The most I saw from anybody, to be honest. None of my friends did this, even though they've struggled. And well, I guess back then they didn't do it. I've helped multiple friends now, but this idea of preconception health, like how healthy can we get before we start to conceive, was not really a discussion. It wasn't. And so in 2022, I started to plan for conception. And I realized the conventional advice that I was finding online and I was receiving, it was like, take a prenatal vitamin and cut back on alcohol, was very surface level. And I knew that there had to be a more comprehensive, proactive approach. I knew there had to be something better. So I embarked on a journey of in-depth research into hormones, lifestyle optimization, biohacking, and fertility science. And this is where I created my 90-day protocol for myself and my partner to follow, addressing every single detail of preconception health. So me and my husband did it. Like I said earlier in this episode, male infertility impacts 30 to 50% of couples who are struggling. So I included him in everything that I did. And despite challenges like having a hemorrhagic cyst and mild PCOS, we actually conceived on the very first time in 2023, in October of 2023. And I started my work a year before that, in October 2022. We did my 90-day protocol 90 days before October. So we started it in July. And it transformed my understanding of fertility and inspired me to create the Baby Steps program to help others navigate this journey with clarity and confidence. And in this program, I include men in every single module because the sperm is so easily impacted by our choices and what we do. The Baby Steps program is designed to be the most comprehensive fertility optimization course available, providing a step-by-step guide for couples who want to take control of their reproductive health. So I'm just going to briefly go over the curriculum with you because I think it's great and it's really exciting. So, the first module, it's a 7-week course. It gets dripped once a week and you get access to the 90-day protocol, the step-by-step guide right away though. So for all those like type A people who's like me, you can start it right away and get going. There's printable worksheets, everything you kind of need really to get going. But this is the curriculum. So the first week is fundamentals. And you learn about fertility anatomy, detoxification, and the mindset shifts that really you need to succeed. It includes practical steps to eliminate toxins from your home and your body, which is like kind of some that we've talked about right now. Next week is week 2, which is nutrition. So you can discover all of the fertility enhancing foods and meal plans tailored to preconception health. I focus on macronutrients, micronutrients, and gut health for hormonal balance. Week 3 is hydration. So you learn about how hydration affects hormonal health and fertility, includes tips on mineral water, herbal teas, and hydration-focused foods. And week 4 is substances. This is a big one. So, and I talk about all different types of drugs in this one. I talk about substances like alcohol, caffeine, recreational drugs, and how they affect fertility for men and for women. It's a little eye-opening. And so, yes, part of the 90-day protocol is to be sober and alcohol-free and essentially substance-free. And you can explore all of these healthier alternatives as well that I provide. Week 5 is lifestyle and biohacks. This is my favorite week of all of them. Obviously, I love the biohacks. And I include some really cool stuff. So we talk about like how to optimize your sleep, manage your stress, and explore biohacking techniques like red light therapy, vaginal steaming, and acupuncture. Talk about reducing EMF exposure and addressing mold toxicity as well in your environment. Week 6 is exercise. You can discover how to balance your physical activity to support ovulation and sperm production. I talk about over-exercising and under-exercising and the benefits of heat therapy like sauna for detoxification. And week 7 is supplements. And I, on purpose, put week 7 as supplements because I know everybody wants to just quickly buy a supplement and be done with it, but it doesn't really work like that. So you can navigate the complex world of preconception supplements with confidence in this module. And I include recommendations like CoQ10, omega-3s, probiotics, and I give all the links and everything of all of the brands and all of the products that I used, I've had my clients use, and I recommend for other people. And now the gold of this whole program, and again, what I did with myself and others, is the 90-day protocol. 90 days is important because this is where the research shows that you need that amount of time to improve sperm health, egg health, balance hormones, and detoxify the body. You need a minimum of 90 days, okay? A minimum of 3 months. So the protocol provides a daily checklist of actions to optimize your fertility, including a fertility-focused diet, biohacks like red light therapy and mindfulness practices, and supplementations for both partners. So essentially, you do these 6 different things every single day for 90 days, you and your partner. And through those consistent, healthy habits, you're optimizing your health, which is optimizing your ability to conceive, have a healthy pregnancy, and a healthy baby, which is what we all want. So that is like kind of my gist. And what I'm trying to really explain is like, yes, we're sitting at a point where it's 1 in 6 couples are struggling with infertility. But if we take a holistic viewpoint in healing this and working on this, we can actually put that into remission. We can actually stop that and increase our chances. I also have a bunch of like other bonuses. You know, I provide hormone testing kits. You can get $100 off of the hormone testing kits, which is the Dutch panels that I recommend, 20% off different supplements that I use, all these different things. And so I really suggest acting as soon as you can. Fertility is time sensitive, and proactive steps today can dramatically increase your chances of conceiving naturally. Waiting often leads to more invasive and expensive treatments, such as IVF, which can cost $10,000 to $20,000 per cycle. So before you even go down that pathway, please just pause and think about doing a more natural, holistic solution. So right now with my Black Friday sale, you can actually join Baby Steps for just $199, which is half the usual price, which is wild. This offer is limited to the first 100 members and ends Monday, Cyber Monday at midnight. I just really hope that, you jump on this because I think it's so, so key. One of my favorite success stories is Emma, and she's actually added her to my website. She's 32 and she's been trying to conceive for 2 years and she was unsuccessful. And then after following the Baby Steps program, her cycles became regular and both Emma and her partner felt healthier and more energized, which I also love to hear. I love all the extra health benefits that people get from my program, and they conceived naturally within 4 months. So, and her testimonial, her quote she gave me was, "Baby Steps isn't just a course, it's transformation. It gave us hope and a clear path forward when we felt overwhelmed. I cannot recommend this program enough," which I love because I know how overwhelming it is. I was at that point in 2020 when I was like, wow, I might not be able to get pregnant. I might not be able to have a baby successfully. And it was heartbreaking for me. And that's why I just poured everything into this. So there is something you can do. It's not out of your control. You don't have to go straight to pharmaceuticals or IVF or IVI. There is a holistic, natural way that you can heal and work on your fertility and your partner's fertility as well, if you have a partner, for the sake of this. So please first think about this before doing something more serious and obviously way more costly. So you can visit biohackingbrittany.com/pages/baby steps to enroll now and take advantage of the 50% off Black Friday sale, which is crazy. Thank you so much for listening to Biohacking with Brittany. If you have any questions, please send me a DM. I am here to help you and support you. in the most genuine and authentic way possible. There's no one else on my social accounts. Like, it's only me. My Instagram account now has over 50,000 followers, which is really cool to see. Same with TikTok. And so I'm really here to help you. And yes, I respond to everybody, even if it is voice notes. So let me know if you have questions. And again, I just want to leave you with like encouragement, because when I was in my dark place, I looked around and couldn't see anything, and I had to build the solution that I wanted. And now the solution is available for you. So please know that there's hope and that you can do this, and we can do this together. Thanks for listening. And you can catch me on another episode. I release 2 episodes a week on Tuesday and Friday, and we can redefine what's possible in your journey to parenthood together. Again, let me know if you have any questions, and I will catch you soon for another episode. Thanks for listening to another episode of Biohacking with Brittany. If you're interested in finding the show notes or the sponsors for this episode, you can do so on my website, which is biohackingbrittany.com. Remember to follow me on Instagram, where I'm most active. My handle is @biohackingbrittany. And if you're interested in working together and you want to email me directly, you can do that. My email is info@biohackingbrittany.com. And I look forward to hearing from you and having you tune in next week.